Officially live.
Officially
We
live.
are officially live.
So we'll just kind of chill and hang out.
Okay.
So
I'm
do
pulling
y'all
up the
have
chat.
plans for the holidays?
Um, I am going. Me and Egg are going to my parents tomorrow, and my besties tomorrow for Christmas Eve,
Good.
and then you're having dinner here at our house. Uh,
Awesome.
just pretty low key.
Yeah. Yeah. At least you'll be around family and friends.
Yeah, it's low key. We're not. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't do much around this time of years.
Yeah, I mean, I have a decorative tree that looks like a real pine that I just put some ornaments on, but that's like my only Christmassy decoration. Yeah, I don't really, to me, it's just another day, but it's a
Yeah. So
good excuse to, hi, Assemblywoman. We're,
Hello, welcome.
yes, hello, welcome. We are not scheduled to go live for another 8 minutes, so we're just gonna hang out here and try and gain a little viewers before we get started. I hope you can hang out and wait for our live that's gonna happen here real soon.
Join us.
Yeah.
Join us.
Yeah. What about you, Tig? You got something going?
I have since I emancipated myself 3 years back, I have a yearly Christmas tradition. New for I don't really go. I either go out and see found family and friends for Christmas, or just
Mhm.
go over to the shelter I was staying at the time. The faculty there kind of adopted me, so just going over there.
Yeah,
It's nice to see a whole bunch of found family and whatnot. It's nice to
sure.
see
And
everyone.
family doesn't have to be blood, like we've discussed,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I mean, family is like someone you choose. It's people that love you for you, and I love that with them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And also that's what I did a few years back. But hi, Evie, welcome. Oh my godmother's had to join us. And this year, my Christmas plans are a little bit more low key, a little bit more local, actually.
Mhm.
A contact, business connection of mine. Is this international network of femme, queer, and women in gaming.
Wow.
It's called the Gamers. I actually did post a link to a Stream the Halls event they were doing, because essentially all this week they were doing a massive fundraiser for women in gaming and women in streaming. And every year, and this year, so I'm gonna sit home, and I'm gonna just be bouncing home, talking to my friends online, talking to my friends over live stream. It's gonna be crazy bad weather, so no point in me traveling, but that's
I'm
really
really
okay.
jealous.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in snuggle on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then come the weekend. A few of my friends were gonna and just kind of come over to my place. We're just gonna hang out and just chill and watch anime or something like that.
Awesome.
And ultimately, the main tradition that I carry on, no matter where I'm spending the holidays this year, is New Year's. I'm going to a bar,
Good.
and Christmas, I always have to order a massive seafood boil
There you
from a
go.
place nearby with
Yum.
Cajun crab seafood boil. And every year I kind of forget. It's like, oh, I will be on posting. It's like, how was your seafood boil? Did you take a picture? Like, no, I forgot. I ate
Yeah.
the whole thing before I remember to take a picture. You're too
Yeah.
real for that. I
So
know.
hi Kimmy. Our
Hi, Kimmy.
my bio family's back in Ohio, so that's a little far away. Sometimes I go home for the holidays, but not this year. But I do have a roommate that is my best friend and brother. We are going over to another friend's house, and we're having tomahawk steak, surf and turf, and crab legs.
Yum. Yum.
Yeah. So, hey, Kimmy, we're just hanging out for a little bit. We're not scheduled for another 5 minutes. Just waiting for a few more people to show up before we get going. So hopefully you hang out for a while if you're patient enough to hear us chit chat back and forth until we get going.
Oh yeah, I love me a good surf and turf. Honestly,
Yeah.
I love making surf and turf even more than I love eating surf and turf. Honestly,
Yeah.
because I honestly, like, me and my hard science STEM background. It's like everything is science. It's a language. Everything's connected. I
Yeah.
think okay, hypothetical scenario. If there were a race of hyper intelligent aliens that came to Earth, looking to trade with us, do you know the one thing they would be impressed by that they would actually want to engage with us with? It wouldn't be our technology. It wouldn't be our governance. It wouldn't be our unity as a species. None of that. Okay.
Right.
The one thing I think an alien race, no matter where they are in the world, where they are in the universe, would be gravely impressed with is humans have found a way to turn a biological necessity, food, into a form of cultural expression.
Yes.
We've turned sustenance into cuisine. And of course, you have all these other intelligent creatures all over the planet that use tools, that have complex social interactions. But cuisine is something uniquely human.
Yeah.
Right.
It's uniquely human. No other animal on Earth is getting even close to what we have now. And even like our closer relatives, like there's actually a study done in Japan on one of the islands off the coast of Okinawa, and they had a whole bunch of sacks of like sweet potatoes and just dumped on the shore. And there's a whole bunch of macaques, little monkeys, like snow monkeys in Japan,
Yeah.
and they just dumped a whole bunch of sweet potatoes all over the beach. The monkeys were going nuts. And then one of the monkeys, one of the like the female, one of the matriarchs, she was a mother. She had like two babies already. She broke apart the sweet potato, dipped it in the salt of the sea, and then ate it.
Ooh.
And I swear to God, that's how the first rat was born.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because next thing you know, every other monkey in the troop is doing the same thing.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. I
And
really,
you see that happen in real life, in real
yeah.
time. Honestly, it's crazy.
Yeah. I really enjoy like different cultures and their cuisine. I mean, it's far better than what this country has come up with.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what honestly this country is like. They haven't. There is like it's such a hodge. It's such a hodgepodge. Honestly, it is a massive melting pot of cuisine because we, like it or not, we are a nation of immigrants. We have a lot
Yeah.
of coming into here,
Oh yeah.
and we also have a very unique in climate in the United States. Like you're trying to grow like wheat as like a crop. Like wheat is originally like a grass. It's related to a grass, a type of grass. But you're trying if you're oh hey Brandon, welcome. Yes, wheat on its own is a form of grass, but as a crop, it needs a semi-arid kind of chill environment. You're not going to find that kind of climate necessary to grow copious amounts of wheat on the east coast of the United States.
Right.
So, but we have a lot of our climate is perfect for beans, corn, squash, and a whole bunch of other things that the indigenous people have been eating for centuries. But using that knowledge as well as everything else we have been able to change the land for and be able to cultivate here. I think it's important today, not just like we don't have to restrict ourselves to what we can grow in the what way how it was in the old days. We can find ways
Yeah.
to have a vast oh hi have a vast variety of foods worldwide without having to destroy everything in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There is ways to do that, and it starts with. I honestly, if I had a time machine, I would go back in time and slap the guy who ever thought it would be a smart idea to grow avocados in California. I mean, it's a
Right.
rainforest tree. It's a
Yeah.
rainforest tree. These copious amounts of water. You're growing in the middle of the frickin' desert with the yoga moms running around the desert like coyotes in yoga pants. Who in their right mind would think
Yeah.
that was a good idea?
And they do it in New Mexico too, and it's just like, gosh, you guys, like you
It's a
are
rainforest crop. What the hell are you thinking?
planet. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
All
my gosh.
right.
Oh, that's okay. We can just build all this infrastructure and pump all this water to it. It's like, you idiots.
Yep. All right. We have another minute.
Oh
We have
my God.
people in. I think we can hang out for a couple more minutes, see if we get at least 10 before we get
Oh my
going.
God. Kimmy's cracking up. Kimmy
Yeah.
is cracking up right now. She's like,
Yep.
the avocados. Yes. I mean, tell me I'm wrong, Kimmy. Tell me I'm wrong.
Good. I love avocados.
They're so good. But there's way like you can actually grow avocados without like, did it ever occur to them to just grow avocados in Florida?
I actually have an
That's something you could do.
oh,
That's something people do all the time.
I just took a seed. Hey,
Yeah.
Miriam.
Hey, you're at Virgin Fudge. Welcome in.
Yep. We're just hanging another minute here. All right. It's officially 6:30. Okay.
Let's do this.
So, for the people that have joined, thank you for being here. I am very happy to have our special guest, Onyx Rose.
I
Yay. And our returning co-host, they, them, take. Sorry, I didn't want to go this. Sorry.
Nick.
No, it's okay. It's honestly like my My suffix is boss. I accept boss, lord, and dude.
Good to know. So we got Lord T in the house.
Hello.
Right on. So, today we are going to discuss just a topic in general. As my lives go, our topics kind of go off and into other realms. We're going to discuss bipolar 1 and 2.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
I,
we
yeah, I learned about Onyx Rose and their diagnosis, and I have just recently been diagnosed with bipolar 2, and it's been put to a test here recently. So I will let Onyx take the floor
Thank
and have at it.
Okay. So I have been diagnosed with bipolar 1, ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder. I have Crohn's disease, gender dysphoria, panic attacks, all of that good stuff. So it all melts together. I was diagnosed first in 2001 and then again in 2012 when I had a manic attack in I'm sorry, a manic episode in rehab because I am an addict. I was using a lot of drugs. My drug of choice is cocaine. And what that was doing at the time in the beginning was kind of correcting my ADHD brain and my bipolar brain. But then, of course, it spun out of control as drug use does. Uh,
Mhm.
and Egg sent me off to rehab with with the expectation that I either go or we divorce. I had a secondary manic episode and was diagnosed again. I have been on medication ever since then. I've had medication changes. And I've had some depressive episodes, but mainly manic and mixed episodes where I've spent thousands of dollars, thousands upon thousands of dollars, um, thought, crazy things like I was God, with bipolar disorder comes like a God complex. Um, you know, I have psychotic features. So I have had psychosis before. Um, yeah, the whole range. My last depressive episode was in 2016, and it was so bad to the point where, and I don't know if people can understand this, but I forgot how to read. Like it was that bad. Like I just, and the depressive episode lasted like 6 months. I
Yeah,
was down in the doldrums.
I can
Um,
actually relate to that. Um, for several years now, I used to read for like all the time when I was in from like elementary all the way through high school. And then I couldn't do it. Like I'd read the same sentence over and over and over and over again, or I'd read a paragraph and not absorb what I just read. So I'd have to go back and read that to get the gist of what was going on. And it got so frustrating that I was like,
yeah.
like I haven't read in years and I miss it.
I
I
miss.
feel you guys honestly. There is I did actually talk to my therapist a lot about this common phenomenon because it happened to me as well. Something I used to do is I kind of have one of those rare cases of autism that kind of borders on the Einsteins and the Isaac Newtons of the world essentially. I have one of those kind of rare brains. And over the course of my life, between the medical abuse that I had suffered, one of the two things that kept me grounded through it all, that kept me from going over the edge more times at once, was I had Google, I had my research, I had the public library, and I had my Amazon account. And essentially, I would order gadgets, I would order books, I would order projects, I would order instruments. And I basically taught myself how to play the ukulele. And from there, relearn how to learn the guitar, keyboard, the whole 9 yards, 7 different languages at once. It was the only thing I had. And then 5, 7 years later, after I'm out of that situation and able to heal now, I'm realizing I'm finally I can get to do these things I always loved to do. And I realize I can't do any of it anymore.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. I can't. I can't. My fingering is off. The guitar is off. Everything is just gone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell happened? And that's when I realized. And that's when I actually did some reading into and I did some reading into this concept called neurological pruning. Essentially, it's
Mhm.
something very common with people in the neurodivergent individuals, and or pretty much anyone who's bipolar, especially. It's a very common one. If you learn, if like basically how the brain adapts like a skill, whether it's fine motor skills or otherwise, or a language, something like that. That skill is it's not ingrained in the base of the brain. It's kind of based on branches. So if you, for me, I learned how to play the ukulele and then learned how to play the guitar. But in that same branch, I did those things based under the context of isolation, depression, anxiety, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
So if those, but now that I'm experiencing the healing process, and now that I'm going under, like trying to basically just move forward and find my humanity again, which I've actually gotten a lot of progress with. I'm finding that those trees that were attached with trauma, but also attached to skill sets, got pruned with the trauma. The trauma was not necessarily doesn't have to be the root, but if it's on the tree at all, you cut the trauma out, the rest of the branch goes with it, along with all the skills you learned in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a frustrating thing. You have to I'm still in the process of relearning how to do everything.
Right. And
Um,
so I was raised by a musician and I played several instruments growing up. I was in all the competitions, solo competitions on clarinet. I played saxophone and jazz band, several different instruments in marching band, pep band, Christmas, I did it all. And I also suffer from really bad arthritis. So like I can't even play my guitar anymore if I wanted to or if I could. You know what I mean? And so I have actually found out I've been trying to recreate my creative juices, get something to keep my brain occupied and focused on something. And I know Tig and I have discussed this. I picked up a tattoo gun and I've been trying out the tattoo. I have just started laying ink on my own self in the last week.
yeah,
So
yeah, and the designs are beautiful.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I would like to learn how to tattoo. I'm not really an artist in terms of drawing, but I would love to learn how to tattoo so I can get my own tattoos for free.
Right. Yeah, and that's another thing.
I know, yeah. I mean, I have a friend of mine who was in the trenches with me in that similar situation. We kind of healed together. He lives out. He's also trans. He's also a trans guy. Dude looks like Edward Scissorhands. Hilarious. And and like his name's Matt, and Matt is actually a professional tattooist. So that's honestly why I'm looking forward to like getting my tattoos as well. I'm still working out the designs, but not only just the design, but I'm also trying to develop like honestly, here wasn't. I don't know if you were ready for this conversation. Bioluminescent tattooing that is immune, that is hormone responsive. Yeah, that is something that's fun for the future.
Yeah,
So I can just have glowing tattoos like Avatar.
that'd be
Ah,
amazing.
that would be good.
Yeah,
I
but
like.
honestly,
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but like tying it back to something like having being able to like relearn a lot of the skills that I lost. It was such a matter of frustration for me. It's like, wait, and that's when I realized like I kind of compared it to a similar situation. Say you have like say you had broken leg, a really severe broken leg, and you learn to walk with a broken leg, or the allegory that I use a lot is how did you become such a good driver? Oh, I learned to drive by driving in the back seat with a shoelace and a broomstick.
Yeah.
That was my reality being on so many meds at once, heavily over medicated for nothing.
Sure.
And and like how did you survive? Basically just running on sheer adrenaline. It's scary as hell, but you get over time, if your survival depends on it, you get really, really good at driving a car from the back seat with a shoelace and a broomstick.
Sure.
wow.
But But now that you're like, but now that I'm in the driver's seat, now in fact, I'm in the driver's seat for the first time in my life. And it's like, oh my God, like, how did you get such good at driving? Well, I kind of learned the hard way. I learned the most absurd way possible. And now I'm driving that way, but also relearning how to do a lot of these skills. And it's really important that I have my friends who are able to, like, I have my found family that is like, hey, stop beating yourself up for something you learned to do when no one in the right mind would be able to do it. Like, you're beating
Right.
yourself up for not being able to drive a car with a broomstick and a shoelace like you had to for 25 years.
Right.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Is like is I know like you have that skills, but now you can learn how to do those same things you used to do 10 times better in a different way, in a healthier way. It's
Right.
kind of like resetting a brake. If you're learning to walk with broken legs and the brake doesn't set right, it's going to hurt, but you learn to do it anyway. You make it work. And the
Yeah.
moment you have that relief is like, I don't know how to do anything. Now you can relearn how to do things healthier in a way that doesn't have to hurt.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, Onyx Rose, you want to talk about how you came about being diagnosed with your bipolar 1?
So I actually walked in because I was going to insert myself into a psych ward. I was just that lost, and my father actually stopped it. And I was underage at the time, and
Mhm.
he um he did not believe I was bipolar, did not believe I had any medical issues, mental issues. And I don't know if it's just like the black family, that doesn't want to reach out to mental health, even though,
Right.
yeah, even though my father is a physician.
Yeah.
Self. The mental health aspect is not one thing that Black families are big on. I find. So when I was diagnosed again in 2012, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. So I was in rehab and had to stay in psych ward. So there was nothing that anybody could say at that point. I have had, I have had depressions where I've gone back to my parents' house and like stayed in the basement and curtains drawn and like hoped like hell that I could see the next morning. A lot of suicidal ideation.
Yeah.
A lot. Suicide attempts. Amazing that with my life and my self-destructive ways that I am here today, not in jail or not dead. You know,
Right.
and it's not, and that goes along with the gender dysphoria as well. Like it was just a swirl of mental disorder, mental disease.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and honestly, it's interesting you mentioned that, Onyx Rose. Something that like I was thinking about a lot recently. I just recently did a note actually on my Substack about it. Um, how like the stigma behind suicidality, how it's not addressed at the root societal wise, but also what suicide is in contrast to the actual human biological experience essentially. Like in order for suicidal ideation to even occur, that is a full override of the brain's sole purpose for existing, and that is to keep you as a human creature alive under any circumstances.
yeah.
So the fact that suicidal ideation is even present, is even in existence, that's not something that happens naturally. That is not a failure. That is not a moral failure of any kind. That it takes an incredible amount of social conditioning.
Yeah.
The idea of suicidal ideation at all is a consequence of social conditioning rather than the consequence of illness itself.
Sure. And
When you
What?
feel like your existence as you are is worse than death itself, that
yeah.
override,
Uh,
that override.
Yeah.
yes.
And going back to what Onyx Rose was saying about like how they found out or was diagnosed in theirs, like just recently I'm only 3 weeks into my diagnosis and I'm diagnosis 2. So I don't have those really super highs, manic but I do get anxiety and I do overspend and you know what I mean? Like I don't think rationally when I'm hyped up. Mine is more on the depressive side. And I find myself deep in holes since I was young. And I've had suicidal ideation as well. I've never attempted, but it's always sitting back here in the back of my brain. And it wasn't until, well, I got divorced about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. And that's what really kind of started boiling up my uncontrollable behaviors and moods. It was a very contentious divorce. I had to sell the marital home, moved in with my adopted daughter's biological family, which I've always been very independent. I've owned 3 homes in the last 30 years. And it was a hit on my ego, I guess,
Right?
to have to ask somebody.
Understandably so.
Oh, well,
And
Understandably so.
yeah, and so yeah, like right now I'm in a rental. I've been here since March. And it's the first time I've had to rent a space in 30 years. But so during that whole year that I was with my daughter's biological aunt, it was a very toxic environment. We just butted heads left and right, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And with my arthritis getting worse and not realizing that I couldn't control my emotions. And so I would act out, or like I would get triggered and just say horrible shit, and it's not me. Like, I'm a very kind and loving person. But it was like a couple weeks ago, my daughter, a while back, they had estranged themselves just because they witnessed all of this weird behavior between me and their biological aunt. And I had initially tried to find a place for my daughter and I to move into and just start over post divorce. Well, they didn't wanna move again because we had moved a lot, pre-divorce, and after the divorce, we had to move again, and I thought in my mind, I'm like, I'm respecting my daughter's wishes and saying, "Yeah, you can stay with your aunt, and we'll just go do things together, go out to dinner, you can come over, we can watch shows, movies, or whatever." Well, it didn't turn out that way. And I got accused of abandoning them. All these things were like hitting me really super hard in the heart.
right.
And I just spiraled downward so hard that it scared the shit out of me. Like, I
Uh,
thought at that point, I was like, the suicide ideation was no longer ideation. I was like, ready.
right.
Like, I have no more reason to live at this point.
People are shocked that that you can have a plan, and psychiatrists, therapists always ask, are you suicidal? And I'm
Mhm.
like, yes. And then they ask, do you have a plan? And
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. But then the next question is, are you feeling like you're going to enact that plan?
Right.
Then my answer usually is no.
Right.
Uh, and it's at that point, they're like, "Okay, so we know you have a plan, but we know you're not at that point where you're going to enact."
And
And
that's where the safety plans come in play.
right, right,
Yeah, it's when your plan, and when it's when your plan at that point, it's no longer just a plan; it's a contingency plan.
right,
When
Exactly.
you have suicide as a backdoor option, it scares the crap out of people.
Yeah.
right,
So,
Yeah, I mean, I've had like 18 attempts over the course of my life. Never
uh,
really got that far. I don't understand why, but in hindsight now, I understand why. Apparently, something that happens when you're a weird interaction that happens with whether you're on crazy amounts of mood stabilizer or antipsychotics. The vast majority of drugs prescribed for the psychotropic drugs in question have a weird deactivated reaction to vitamin C.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And given me and my autism sensory issues, I cannot stand the smell or being around any other fruit aside from lemons, limes, cranberries, and stuff of the like. So with that in mind, it was weird because like my autism sensory issues saved my life essentially. Because other than that, it probably would have shut down my kidneys and killed me.
Yeah.
Right.
But even aside from that, it's like when you have no autonomy, when everything is around you is falling apart, when everything that we were told either should be or not be. And for me, like that, my rock bottom moment that I kind of spiraled back to a couple of times over the course of my life is that seeing like that, like I'm never going to be the person my parents want me to be. I know that they're too stupid to understand or too delusional, whatever. They still hold on to something that's never going to happen.
Right.
So I have a choice. Like if
Yeah.
I can either end it now and spare everyone the agony, spare myself the agony because I can't go on like this,
Mhm.
or let them have their delusion. And it was really like, it was a really a worse than death situation, and that's over and over and over again. It came back to that. It came back to that same dilemma. Is that
Yeah.
I'm never going to be the person XYZ wants me to be,
Yeah.
Well,
and no matter how far I succeed or what I do, it's never going to be enough. And it's like, okay, so do I continue knowing that I'll be likely abused and bullied for the rest of my life, or do I just call it quits and leave them all to deal with the apocalypse on their own?
Right. I
so
Yeah, it's
my parents actually told me that they thought I would be the one, the smartest of the family. I was going to do great things, and I just turned out to be ashamed for them. And they actually told.
yeah.
And I was like, great. I'm happy that you feel so comfortable that you can say that to me. Um,
I
you know,
know, and it's crazy because like I kind of had an opposite with that. I wasn't supposed to be the genius in the family. That
right,
role was supposed to be my brother, my younger
right,
brother. I wasn't supposed to be the genius. I wasn't supposed to have that gift,
Yeah.
right.
but I did, and they couldn't reckon with that. So my assigned role was supposed to be the caretaker. I was supposed to give up on college and take care of my parents into old age, be a babysitter for my father, and a doll to play with for my mother to dress up and play with for the rest of my life. That was their assigned role, and when it became clear that was not an option, that was not on the table, they took some drastic measures, and it just escalated from there to the point where if you're not going to let me die, then I'm gonna take you with me. Essentially,
Mhm.
there's only so long. And this is kind of a trigger warning for anyone sensitive about this, but in my experience, there's only so many times you can cycle through the suicidal dilemma and be actively stopped and then further abused for trying
Mhm.
Right.
that you kind of just end is like,
Yeah.
this is
It's
kind of like, I have no mouth and I must scream kind of situation. It's a very I have no mouth, I have no scream situation. It's like I'm not I might like curse them mortality. Like I'm not allowed to die because you won't let me, and you won't let me die because of this delusional thing situation that will never happen.
Right.
Right.
What do you do when your creator is mad essentially? And it's there's only so many times you can spiral into that before that agony you felt for yourself, that depression, it spirals into something much, much darker. And it
Yeah.
spirals into outward rage. And
Yeah.
that's where things get dangerous.
Yep.
Okay. So that is something to talk about. The outward rage, the rage that happens with bipolar disorder or any bipolar disorder that I know, I should say. Um,
Yeah. Over any other overlapping conditions like CPTSD mimics a lot of the same symptoms as bipolar.
yes, yes, but the rage it's real.
It
Yeah.
is.
Hardcore. It's
And
lashing like
it's
that.
like you get triggered and you
Eh,
just like, fuck you.
Yeah, not even the fuck you. It's like I will take everything you have ever built and burn to the ground.
That,
It's just
Yep.
it
yeah,
Yep.
gets scary.
Yep.
that's exactly it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And in my case, like my ex-spouse, was very, very, treated both my daughter and I emotionally and mentally, abusive. And I put up with it for, I don't know, we were together for like 8 years, but I put up with it. And um, it got to the point where I just could not fucking take it any longer, you know? And then so I finally pulled the trigger and filed for divorce, and that just created all the more
Yeah.
issues. And uh yeah, and if I, had I known that had this bipolar disorder and was medicated years ago, things would be different now. I'm
Things.
sure of it.
Yeah. Mom.
But
But
that's not the case. And now I have to live with the reality of how I acted and the consequences of losing my daughter's trust and my best friend who was her biological aunt. And luckily my own biological family are very unconditionally loving and support me no matter what.
right.
It's just this, I live 2,000 miles away from them, and I'm in this state for 30 years, and I've made family here.
Right.
Um, and it's complicated, and you're trying to
Well,
wrap your brain around it all.
It's
well,
expansive. It's a lot to wrap your brain around because it's not one, two, three. It's not concise. It's messy. Life is just incredibly messy and complex.
Well,
and
it's hard no matter what. Like,
it's
Yeah.
it's not linear in terms of healing or recovery. You think that you start taking your medication and things are great for 6 months, eight
yeah,
months, a year,
yeah.
but then regress and
Yeah,
how.
well, like we were discussing before we came on, Onyx Rose. Yesterday I had a meltdown.
Right.
I, everything in the last few days, I've had a lot of loss and heartbreak, and I just lost it yesterday. Like
Well,
uncontrollable crying and just nodding, and I'm just like, ah, you know.
um, well,
Yeah,
Yeah, a few weeks back, actually, I had a middle of the night meltdown. Like it's honestly like my brain's a little too good at this whole survival thing, I think.
yeah,
And because I will wake up with nightmares without remembering what the nightmare was. I'll just feel
oh,
all the physical shit. It's like, and I just kind of got used to it at this point. It's like, oh, I had another nightmare. Great. And one of these episodes, I kind of just woke up, nightmare, not remembering why. No memory as to why. No memory as to what was the trigger in it. But I immediately just got up, went to the other side of my apartment, and just started doing pull ups because I
yeah,
needed to have some kind of act.
an
I was
outlet.
just,
Yeah,
I
that's
needed an outlet.
what
I just started doing pull ups and I just started screaming, those fucking bastards. I will destroy them all. I will destroy them all. I will destroy them all over and over and over until it's like, why was I so angry?
yeah.
it's always about getting something out, especially with the nightmares. I get nightmares
Mhm.
Oh, I
quite
do
a
too. Yeah.
and like they're I had nightmares all last night and panic attacks. So it was like a bam, bam.
Yeah.
I was taking my Klonopin and wasn't doing anything, and I was like, nightmare here, wake up, get a panic attack, so walk around the place, turn on the TV, go to my laptop, whatever I could do to make sure. And for me, it's always make sure I can see the sun the next day.
Yeah,
If I take it to the next day, and
sure.
I
And
count,
life is really beautiful. It really is. There's so much beauty surrounding us,
right.
Something
It's
as
just
and
simple as a sunrise.
yeah,
yeah.
something
I
that's
live in a mountain town, and I work with people with disabilities, and it's so rewarding. Like I have rewards in my life. It's
right.
just people in my immediate like circle, the people I've held dear to me for so long are like rebelling against me for reasons I don't understand, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and
It's a tough one to reckon with what outside perspective because again, it all comes back to worldview essentially.
Yeah.
It's like something I was explaining to a friend of mine who was we kind of butted heads for a little bit, and I was like, I was able to explain to this to them. I pulled out like a pepper shaker, like a glass pepper shaker. Like, you see this pepper shaker? This is your worldview. And you see
Yeah.
that wall?
Yeah.
That is the universe. And I threw it against the wall and it shattered. And that's what you're trying to avoid. That shattering of your worldview. It scares the crap out of you because it's not that it's small, but it doesn't mean it's insignificant. And notice how the shatter, even if it hit the wall, it still made ripples. It still
Yeah.
had an impact that affects things long before you even see them. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around that. Like even like you feel so small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but small is not it's not a synonym for insignificance.
Yeah.
Everything in the universe, if it has matter, if it has therefore if it exists and has actual matter or energy, it has impact on everything around it.
Absolutely.
And and this is something I've been trying to explain to like a lot of people like, oh, I don't owe anyone anything. That's gonna bite you in the ass because everything has impact. I mean, like you look at a grasshopper, it's tiny. You can squish your fingers, doesn't do much. But you put a whole bunch of grasshoppers together in one place. The Bible refers to that as a plague.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, here's the funny
Yeah, those things have impact, and like everything has impacts. And even if you feel like even if you're kind of basic or boring or anything like that, we need basic, boring people because they make people like us more interesting and not more
here.
easier to palate.
Right.
I mean, what is Abbott without Costello? A public menace
Right.
to society.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about your whole grasshopper thing. So when I moved to Utah, I grew up in Northeast Ohio on Lake Erie. Seagulls were everywhere. I mean, and they were kind of a nuisance. They were like, you go and try and eat your lunch and they're right there trying to take your lunch away from you, you know? And so I moved to Utah and I started asking like, hey, what's your state bird? And they're like, the seagull. And I thought they were kidding, right? I was like, And they're like, no, really. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Why? And they're like, well, the Mormons, when they came and settled in Utah, and they call them the Mormon crickets, but the crickets all came in masses and ate all their crops. And the seagulls came in and ate all the crickets and saved their crops. And I was just like, what the?
All hail the seagulls!
Yeah, like,
Oh, yeah, the seagulls. That is hysterical.
yeah,
But like also it's like seagull. It makes sense the seagulls to be in Utah because like, well, what do you have in Utah? Tons of salt flats, a pretty
yeah, great
inhospitable
salt lake,
environment,
lots of
and like
reservoirs and yeah,
lot of reservoirs. Yeah, exactly. And seagulls are one of the few birds that can actually survive and thrive in that environment.
yeah.
I mean, seagulls are greedy, scrappy bastards,
Oh
but
yeah, they're
they
like rats.
are resilient. Oh my god, it was something funny because like I was talking to my friend, another friend of mine, and he was trying to convince his mom to buy a McDonald's with his brother. And there were the conversation, I watched the whole thing go down, and it was like a negotiation between like nobles and kings about the throne. It's like where like mother, we have decided we humbly request tribute of McDonald's. He's like, oh, who came up with this idea? Oh, my younger brother, he would overshot. He was insatiable for his quest. I seek forgiveness. Oh, and his mom's like, oh, so you're both greedy. I have raised seagulls.
Yeah,
And the oldest, like, my friend's like an older brother. He's like, I am no seagull. How dare you?
that's hilarious.
It's hilarious, but it ultimately comes back to like regardless of where you are in the world, there is life, and where there is life, there is joy and beauty where you can find it,
Absolutely.
even if it's not what you expected.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, there's this whole idea. I mean, even like my generations were very like there's this whole. I can't stand the people like this, like the Brian Griffin kind of positive vibes only kind of people. It's pretentious and it's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's pretentious and gross. But ultimately, it's something I've been able to take away from help them understand is that just because something isn't cute, cuddly on the surface level, that doesn't mean it one doesn't have value, and two also can't be appreciated.
Sure.
There we
Um,
go.
yeah,
There we-
I mean, we went through the grasshoppers, but also there is a strict devaluing of terms of conservation of animals that are not cute. And it's like every animal on Earth along deserves to live in harmony with us, of course. But there's strategy with that, and different countries have actually come up with very genius ways of going about it that may offend the uninitiated. Like if, for instance, in Zimbabwe, they have a policy for game hunting or trophy hunting that say that you have this what rich asshole that needs to shoot a rhino to feel like a man or something like that. He's like, hey, I want to shoot one rhino, please. Okay, they'll go to the game reserve. He's like, all right, you can. There's this male rhino that we have here that's been killing the babies and hasn't bred in a while. He's kind of an a-hole. You can kill this male rhino for $40,000. Deal. But like, they're gonna kill the rhino, yeah, but they're gonna use that money to provide the game reserve with the equipment, the guns for the rangers, the gas for the trucks, and all the other incentives and all the funding needed to go into actually helping more rhinos. It's a very tricky conversation to have. It's like on
Yeah.
one hand, like, well, we don't want to kill any animals, but on the other hand, some things you can sacrifice if it doesn't help the whole. If it doesn't help the whole,
So what
it's
happens
not.
that's killed? Do they take them home as a trophy? Use all the
Yeah, it's trophy hunting, but ultimately they use the trophy hunting industry as a way of population improvement as well.
that
So
is
that may if it ha
great
yeah,
idea.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like a great
Yeah,
idea.
and a lot of other countries do it well. Like the United States has a similar policy with black bears. I mean, like that's why our black bear population is consistent. But to tie it back to what we're originally talking about is there are interesting ways to go about treating complex problems, and that complex problems may not always have high conflict, interesting solutions. Sometimes, if you're dealing with severe depression, sometimes if you feel like your life is falling apart, it's not like a rom-com, it's not like a Hallmark movie, like, if your life fell apart and your partner left you, chasing them down to the airport and trying to win them back, it very rarely works.
Yeah.
That's not what you
Doesn't
need.
well,
It's not what yeah, chasing them down to the airport, like a Hallmark movie or like a rom-com or something like that. That's not how life works.
right.
And sometimes really intense, really high conflicts, very, like, emotionally charged conflicts and situations have incredibly boring, mundane solutions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Incredibly mundane solutions. Oh,
Kimmy,
Kimmy's gonna run.
Kimmy's got to run. Well, thanks for stopping by, Kimmy. I do
Thanks for
this.
coming by, Kimmy.
Yeah, I do this every week, Kimmy. I'm doing it on Tuesday this week and next week, just simply due to the holidays. But I typically do it on Wednesday evenings. So come on back. Would love to
In
have you.
terms of
Love to have you.
mental illness, especially bipolar disorders, not having the like quick fix. I've done a lot of therapy. I've been in
Yeah,
therapy since 2012, continuously.
right.
I have missed maybe 1 month. I have gone 2 times a week. The problem with therapy is it's kind of expensive.
Yeah,
Uh, so there are
and it
people who can't
shouldn't
afford it.
be.
Yeah, there are people who can't afford it who need it,
Yeah,
uh, and the people who can get therapists, oftentimes those therapists may not be
be the right
exactly
fit.
right,
Not
right.
the right fit,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
And so I've gone my whole life thinking that I'm just fine. I don't need a therapist, but it was this last incident that scared the fuck out of me. And I got on my insurance. I'm a state employee, so I checked my insurance to see how things were covered and found a good source and got contacted a psychiatrist. That's how I got diagnosed, and a therapist. So I'm only 2 weeks in. Well, today, this week will be my third week on therapy. But
that's good. Good.
the
Uh,
psychologist got me started on meds right away, and the lamotrigine is stacking.
right,
So I start out with one for 14 days, and then you add another for 14 days. So I'm on that two stack.
right,
Was
Yeah.
starting last Friday, and I'm not even halfway there to my full dose yet. So I'm
right.
still acclimating my
They're
to the
crazy.
meds, and I'm sorry.
I take a lot of medications,
Yeah,
and like even switching medications is kind of hard
yeah,
for. So I just went through a medication change, and we're slowly changing medication right now. Like I said before we came on, my last manic episode started in March and ended this September.
that's a
I
long
had,
one.
yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah.
I had
Ever
federal,
since Tuesday.
I had facial feminization surgery in December. So the big worry is that I would have dropped down really low into a deep depression. Well, that has not happened yet, but everybody is on standby, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is. Everybody is on standby.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
and everybody's got eyes on me, and I'm thankful.
You have a
And,
great support.
you're getting a little up there, so you might want to think about trying to find a way to either talk with your therapist or rein it in, you know? So,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's honestly reminds me of that one clip from a Batman comic. He's like, "Bruce, you're injured. Stay put." Like, "Oh, no, the hell, I will stay put. I'm going out for another mission." And they had to lock down everything, and like, no, like, "Hey, going somewhere? Oh, come on."
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna let me go to work today, are you? Not until you have at a minimum 8 hours bed rest. I made some chicken soup. You're gonna eat it while you brood.
Right.
right,
And,
We
previously.
all need friends that treat us like Alfred occasionally.
Oh, yeah,
right,
absolutely.
right.
And
They'll be
he
our wingmans when we need it, but also hold us back and it's like, "You're gonna stay here until you feel
Sure.
better, okay? Fine."
Yeah, so I was previously diagnosed with chronic depression,
Yeah,
and they tied it to my arthritis that I have throughout my body at such a young age. And so they started me off with some of the antidepressants and then they finally put me on Cymbalta, which is actually also not just for depression, but also helps with pain.
right,
They
right,
prescribe it for
right,
patients.
right,
And then, so I do have that. And I'm in pain clinic. I have to go and get, I have different pain meds that I take, just take the edge off and then get injections. My point being is, so I'm still on the duloxetine, which is the Cymbalta.
right,
And then once they figured out that it's not just depression, that I actually do have bipolar disorder, that's when they added the lamotrigine and then the clonidine on top of that.
right.
And
Yeah,
But
all
so,
they
those meds. I still kinda get some flashbacks from it all.
yeah, I'm sorry to.
But, no, it's okay, it's alright, but honestly, like, the point I was bringing is, like, in terms of medication, I medically can't take anything anymore,
oh,
and
oh,
because of the permanent alterations it made to my body, like, my cardiologist actually did a full EKG on me, and he's like, "I've been a thoracic surgeon for 20 years. You're giving me the full rap sheet of every medication you were on for the last 8 years, 12 prescriptions total taken at the exact same time. How are you
Yeah,
not dead?"
yeah,
yeah,
And
so
I again, the theory's still out on that one, but in terms of, like, why I can't take medication anymore now because every single thing that would apply to my case, like, of CPTSD, like, heavy overlaps with mood stabilizers, heavy medical trauma, and, like, kind of really strong bursts of rage as well as, like, defensiveness and depression. It's something that I've had to, I kinda have to rough it and heal from this manage this the old-fashioned way because of this. And ideally, there would be one medication that's relatively new that would work well. It worked well in the past, but my insurance doesn't cover it, and no insurance does now. Nationwide, it's called Vraylar.
I
Mhm.
realize
Essentially,
my insurance cover
yes, yeah, yeah.
my
I mean, that's the thing. The caveat with it is that you have to have at least eight different prescriptions to be categorized as failures within a 12-month period.
I didn't
So,
I take Vraylar.
yeah,
I definitely take it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I can't yeah, it's horrible. Like, Beth is right, honestly. Is like I had to I can't so I have two options. If I want to get the Vraylar that actually helps me, I have to either re-traumatize myself by over medicating myself again, going through every single one of the medications that I was abused with, or I can just rough it.
Yeah.
So we're going with roughing it.
ah,
And yeah, and so that's honestly why I'm really happy to have like friends that are kind of like Alfreds, mini Alfreds. But
right.
also it's like it comes back a lot to how these medications are triggered, like also how these medications
Uh,
are administered. Like the reason I was so heavily medicated and so over medicated to the point where I should have died is there is this assumption that mental illness and word illness is treated in the same way that you would any other kind of visible illness of that regard. Like if you have leprosy or the bubonic plague, you can
Right.
actually do broad spectrum antibiotics and that knocks it
Well,
out.
and I
It's
think
not that
right
simple
now
with
it's not.
bipolar or PTSD.
Yeah, it's more like, and I did put illnesses in there because it's not necessarily an illness. It's more of a disorder.
It is a disorder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, and
yeah, to categorize them, it's
yeah, and because of that history with like being associated with an illness, something that can be cured or treated with a pill or a medication, or if all else fails, they lock you up to prevent it from spreading to the rest of the world.
right.
That's
Yeah,
honestly
let
where
me
it comes down
frame
to.
my title because they aren't really illnesses. It's just
They're not really illnesses, but like
yeah.
it never is. But honestly, I find that a lot of our mental health crisis that we have nowadays is a explosive and rational response to the systems at play.
Right,
right.
And things are in collapse right now. Things are in free fall, and a lot of many people that are realizing that every decision I have made, everything I've tried to strive for, is either no longer applicable or was complete bullshit to begin with.
right.
And reckoning with that fact and trying to figure out where do we go from here, what now? You're this, that, and the third years old. What does the future look like if the targets and prospects of the past no longer apply? That's scary as hell for
Yeah,
so many people, and that's honestly why we need creative individuals like us, or so many more. We need people like us to actually
yeah.
figure out what comes next and build better systems that help people.
Right.
Not just
And
it
that
doesn't
goes with
on the gate says of making things better. Like just make it to the next sunrise.
an addiction.
Tomorrow can be better if you make it to tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, and addictions as well. Like, Onyx Rose, you were talking about cocaine, and I've dabbled in drugs here and there. I never found one that I'm more of a psychedelic kind of gal. I'm like a psychonaut, they would call me.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I love
calls. Uh,
psychedelics, but I was also a very high functioning alcoholic. Alcohol was my poison, and I come from a long line of them. Like
uh,
both my parents and my grandfather, and so I was drinking very heavily up until I got that diagnosis, and then I was just like made the decision that I think I need to put that aside, and I've definitely noticed a difference not drinking and the new meds, being able to um
well, that's the thing. The meds aren't going to work if you're drinking.
right,
They're
right.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chemical against a chemical,
right, right. And that's the same thing.
Yeah.
To take mushrooms or acid, ecstasy, anything like that, is you don't know how much you need to take to get
Right.
where before you started
Yep.
taking psych
Yeah.
med. You
Yeah.
know?
So I haven't
Yeah.
taken
And
that
and
since I started my meds just because I don't know how it's going to react. And
Right,
and I'm very experienced, like
right. Well,
I just,
yeah, hold on. I
I'm
just
scared.
gotta
you know?
I have a experienced and long
yeah.
drug past. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done just about every drug. I've had many lows when it comes to drugs, um, but I don't do them anymore. I'm fortunate that I don't drink anymore, and I think it's helped me stabilize. But even trying to live the cleanest life, uh, bipolar disorder can jump out at you at any
Yeah.
time. The medication can help, but it's not an end all be all. You can still have a depressive episode, a mixed episode and be on your medication.
Yeah.
Have to be hospitalized, and get your meds adjusted. So you just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, like a lot of recreational drugs are not regulated and therefore not researched at all. So not only do you not know how the dosage is, it's very much touch and go. There is no hard research because of these
Well,
recreational drugs are so
research.
heavily stigmatized.
There is a lot of research going on with mushrooms, ketamine, things of
Yep.
that nature.
Yeah, there is a lot of a lot
Yeah.
of new stuff, but it's all great stuff. But the problem is because those like a lot of the research is stopgaps or not as expansive as it could be, it's still not accessible, and it's because it's not accessible, it's still very much a touch. It's very much early stages, touch and go. Because of that, honestly, it's a tough one, honestly, because like something I was actually researching. This is in terms of like how the history of cocaine, essentially, is that what I found was that cocaine, like the plant responsible that has the active ingredient of cocaine, like the coca leaf, is
Uh,
a monocrop in the
Right.
same way that yellow dead corn is. And because it's a monocrop, and due to climate change and everything else, it's going extinct. The
mhm.
plant responsible for the active ingredient of cocaine is going extinct, and because there's no other strain to be able to supplement the supply, that's why you have mystery chemicals and mystery synthetics imported from overseas. That's how you
Right.
get your fentanyl. That's where the sources. That's where all the issues come from. Essentially,
Right.
it's when you it all comes back to climate change, monocrops, the whole 9 yards. And this could have been avoided if we destigmatized. Oh, I mean, honestly, look at what Portugal has been doing, honestly. Portugal decriminalized every drug known to man, and they don't have an addiction problem because if you start to develop a little bit of a little bit of dependency, then they have facilities where you can get high if you need to and get the help you can.
The thing about Portugal is they did institute that where they decriminalize
Yeah.
Yeah.
all drugs, and within successive generations you see the drop in drug use,
Mhm.
and you're right, there's also the treatment facilities, so for the hardcore drug addicts they can go get their drugs that are
And not
measured.
have to steal and
Right.
It
Right.
also goes back to
Hey,
drug quality as well because
Worry about
if
the
it
drug.
like black market, yeah, I mean, when you have a demand for a product, capitalism doesn't give a shit. If you have a demand for a product and that's not recognized by the general market, the black market will provide. And when
Right.
you don't have that kind of regulation that comes to the general market, then all kinds of things happen behind the scenes. And what
right.
Exactly.
Portugal has is that their supply doesn't come from Central America. It comes from the Middle East.
Right.
And that's why it's a better quality version. It's a better quality drug. It's just a
Yeah.
better quality product. And that's something that a lot of people like, oh my God, like Breaking Bad and shit. Like,
Yeah.
no, that
And
matters.
we can thank
When you have
we,
a better quality supply, you
yeah,
have
and we
less
can thank
death.
Reagan for the
So
whole war against drugs. You know?
I've had
Yeah,
pure versus Coke touched with shit, and it's you can tell the difference,
Oh
and
yeah.
you can just tell. It's
yeah,
it's you know,
Yeah. I've
yeah. And it's always the higher quality. It's
I
getting more and more expensive, and that's where things get really terrible. And I'm not a recreational drug user at all. Like I had my start with a couple weed. I have a couple of friends of mine who are stoners. Yeah, not my thing.
right.
And I'm not allowed to drink anymore after what happened last time. But
I don't drink.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, but aside from that, like I understand that drugs is something humans have always done,
yeah.
Right.
and this is something, yeah, like drug use have something that is like magic mushrooms are the genus responsible. Something that's found all over the world
Yeah.
historically, every continent.
No.
It's something that humans have always historically done, and criminalizing it and making it a moral failure for something inherently something kind of weird that humans do
And
is not a real solution. In
in
the
our
same way
community,
that stigmatizing and locking up people who have mental disorders in the same way that they used to doesn't
Right.
solve the problem. It makes it look like it solved the problem
yeah.
because, oh, they're not seeing on the street anymore, but it doesn't solve anything.
It
No,
It
just
just
nothing
makes
solves
it
anything.
out of sight, out of mind.
Problem.
yeah,
I
it creates
guarantee that.
Yeah, it really comes down to like, do you want to make things better or do you want to be
Yeah.
right?
right.
And
Most people just like, well, I want to be right without them even
yeah.
realizing it.
Mushrooms just in general are we're very closely related to them DNA
Yep.
wise.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And
Yeah, fungus
we
is a
are
weird one.
like, and so it's, I think because of that, I mean, I believe in Mother Earth, and like, I think nature has provided us with the right medicines. If it comes from Earth, if Mother grows it, it's not a chemical made in a lab.
But even then, a lot of the chemicals that are made in labs are just synthesized version of the original thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like aspirin was originally like a bark from an aspen tree, but there's only so many aspen trees you can cut down before you have to like, okay, we want the same active ingredients. We can start
It's like
synthesizing the same thing and made it more accessible. Exactly. Or
Right.
like opium or any kind of other drug. There's only
Right.
so long you can use the raw natural material before you run out of the raw natural material because you just need
Unless you
all of them.
effort to reinforce that raw natural material by regrowing it,
Yeah, and regrowing it, but also you have to select. There's the selective breeding aspect of it, and then
Right.
you get the monocrops.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole complicated issue, and there needs to be a balance between them. And that's
Right.
something it all goes back to having a balance of selective breeding and breeding for the strengths and the traits that you want. I mean, the high quality coca leaf, the high quality opium, or even like the aspen tree that has the most amount of aspirin active ingredient in the bark, or even
Right.
things like cinnamon or corn or any other kind of crop. It always comes down to finding a medium middle ground and not spiraling to any other side.
Sure.
Right.
And that's hard to do both in infrastructure systematic wise, in science, and also in life.
Yeah.
What it really comes down to is like there is no extreme. You can be locked up forever. Or you can't just be run wild in the street. There needs to be a medium. That's where things need to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I look to Portugal. Portugal has provided a roadmap that, I think the United States would be well to follow. And yeah, in the first two generations, there may be some problems, but I think successive generations, the drug use is going to be less and less. It's going to be less stigmatized. Therefore, people will be less, wanting to jump into it and try it. Those that do will have clinics that will help them get through it.
Yeah.
It's a
There's also the addressing of climate change as well as improvements in other different forms of agriculture like hydroponics. I'm a big proponent of being
right,
able to diversify the amount of genetic diversity within your crops to
right,
prevent another cocaine situation because that also spirals into migrants, refugees, and everyone trying to flee from that violence and also the climate change that brought about the violence to begin with.
Right.
It all kind of there is no one set cause, there is no one magic pill that you can use to fix a problematic symptom or a problematic behavior. If you're pacing around, like I was pacing around my parents' basement for years, like a freaking caged tiger. And the first thing my dad said to my therapist, like, "Isn't there a pill you can do to fix that?"
Ugh,
And the worst part is that he genuinely believed it. A genuine question, and he had no idea. To
Yeah.
this day, I haven't spoken to them either. It's like, they have no idea. But ultimately, what it comes down to is that there is a very simplistic worldview. There is a very tidy pepper shaker that's not all quite there that so many people have. And the idea of smashing the pepper shaker against the wall is terrifying and loud and startling. But there's also a matter of opening things up and learning more about the world. And when that happens, that we're a better society overall.
Sure.
right. I agree.
It's when we tie everything that we had to a pepper shaker. That's where things get dangerous.
Yeah,
It's like, do you want to make things better or do you want to be right? Do you want to actually look at the universe and look at the wall and say, hey, maybe we can make this better, maybe we can make that better, and it's not so scary? Or do you want to hold on to your pepper shaker like Gollum?
right.
Right.
Like, my precious.
My precious.
You can hold on, and some people choose to hold on to the pepper shaker because the idea of like opening up to the wall to the rest of the universe is scary as hell to them.
Yeah,
Ultimately, but it's coming to a point where they may not have a choice anymore. And
right,
that's honestly something that's good. Something that's good about when an empire dies, something new can grow in its place.
right. Exactly.
It's like when a tree dies in a rainforest, it's a race to the top to figure out what grows in its place. And
Right.
it's our responsibility to make sure that something beneficial and healthy grows in its place.
Agree. 100%. Yeah. Wow. See.
Beth is like, depends on who I'm speaking to. My husband and I want to be right. Damn pepper shakers. Damn pepper shakers. Oh my god. But something that actually brings up a slightly good point, actually. It's like, well, if you're depending on who you're speaking to, like, do you want to win an argument? And it's something really funny because, like, it's really about what the purpose of that interaction, what the objective of that conversation is. Do you want someone to adopt your worldview? Do you want someone to submit to your worldview? Do you want to be right and the other person to be wrong? Or
Right.
do you want to actually open things up and explore things? Like, what is the
And
purpose
up,
of the object? What's the purpose
yeah,
of the conversation? Essentially, you
yeah,
really have to. That's what something I've learned. That's like, when I say, "Do you want to make things better? Do you want to be right?" It's like, do you want to win an argument, or do you want to move towards a collective solution? And that
yeah,
requires a set of skills that most people, admittedly, are not stuck at. Communication.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I've never been a really good communicator. I kind of internalize things, and I need to learn how to communicate better, like my feelings, my wants, my needs, things of that nature.
I tend to
Most
be
people don't. Most people not good at it.
Yeah.
I tend to be an oversharer, so
Well, I overshare too, like,
um,
but and that's not. I think I overshare some of my personal like skeletons
right. Oh,
instead
yeah,
of
yeah.
yeah, but
Um,
you know,
I mean,
Yeah, I
some
find
of
I
my
find myself a bit too good at communication, where it often comes across, intentionally or not, as calculating.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's something I kind of have to delve into, the more emotional trust aspect of things. That's something I'm really trying to work it on. Just like learning to like trust that humans are going to be humans, but also the vast majority of people are not stupid to the point of being dangerous for other people. I don't have to make contingency plans around people if they make mistakes.
right,
So that's if they make mistakes, depending on how bad it is, they're going to beat themselves up for the rest of their lives, possibly, but they can also move forward with it.
right.
It's not a lack of some things. Like sometimes it's like there's a dialogue from Malcolm in the Middle. I don't know if you remember this from one of
I
the
love
last
that show.
episodes.
Oh,
Yeah, and from one of the last episodes is that when Malcolm kind of gets his doesn't get that job, and Lois's monologue to him is like, what you already know what it's like to work hard, and now you're gonna learn how to lay low, pick your battles, and achieve 10 times more than everyone else around you. In the end, it won't matter because they will still look down on you. You
Yeah,
right,
want so badly for them to like you, and I kind of paraphrase a lot, to treat you like a human being, but no matter what you say, don't say, succeed, or fail at, they just won't. And it'll
right.
break your heart, but that'll make it bigger. And somewhere along the way, you realize that there's more to life than being this proving you're the smartest person in the world.
yeah,
And that
And I
it
was able to
matter anymore. Right, right,
Yes, and that's when I was able to pull back. It's like reflect that whole monologue is that they're like, it's gonna break your heart, and it's not because they can and like they just won't understand you, they won't accept you, and
yeah,
it's not because they lack the capacity to do so. It's
yeah,
because they choose not to.
and there's nothing you can do about that.
no,
So,
Yeah, not only there's nothing I can do about that, but because they choose not to, because it's easier in the short term to be an abusive, obnoxious piece of shit than it is to be an open, honest, curious, worldly human being. That takes time, that takes energy, that takes work in
right,
the long term. And most people are like short term, thinking short term only. And that's not a moral failing on anyone's part.
sure.
right,
It's not a matter of capacity, it's not a matter of ability, it's a matter of priorities. And
Well,
once
and
you
I
understand that, communication will follow.
yeah, and I've been chastised for like taking care of people, like overly taking care of people. Like I bring people into my home that are homeless,
yeah,
and and if they get to the point, I just want them to have a better life, or help them at least get on their feet. And but once I notice that I'm being taken advantage of, then that's where I get a little bit like, okay,
back
like,
off, and
don't
yeah,
take advantage of
Uh,
my kindness, please.
right. And that's don't you hate? I do like. I feel like I have a big heart. Um, but I do feel like in having a big heart and being so open, a
Yeah,
lot of people will kind
take
of take it.
advantage of it.
Yeah, and walk.
yeah, and it's nuts because, like, again, it kind of goes back to that original argument, like being right or making things better or making progress. You can
Yeah,
just sit and be stagnant, or you can do the effort to make progress. And not everybody is ready to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met I mean, when I was homeless, I met a lot of individuals who were like that. It's like, I'm happy with where I am. I don't want to be found. I'm okay with that. It hasn't resonated with them just yet. They feel like either it's too late for me. Oh, I can't take this anymore. They
Yeah.
prioritize their own autonomy and independence over anything else. And I can respect that, honestly. That's
Yeah.
something I can understand.
Oh,
Like, you
absolutely.
can't, and like, oh, but why don't you want to help yourself? Why don't you want to do better by yourself? And it's like, I don't. Either they think they don't deserve better, or they're okay
Yeah,
with what they have.
sure.
Some people need to live in the tents out in the woods, and and the fact that our society as a collective, like our civilization, has become so intolerable to so many people that they feel like they need to drop everything and go be a hermit. That says something. That says more about the systems in place than it does about them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Who's to say who is correct in that way? If you
sure.
want
Right,
to be a hermit, you could be a hermit. I mean, we have the story of Diogenes is there for a reason. You know, we have the cynics to go
right,
out and be a hermit in the woods. But ultimately, it's crazy when you're seeing someone like, do you need help? Like, they may not see that help as something in the way that you're imagining it. It's like,
Sure.
if you can teach a man to fish and they'll eat for a day, kind of thing. But if you like fish for them, and some people they don't want to learn because they don't wanna catch their own fish.
right,
Some people like the idea of being taken care of.
Yeah.
And
right.
it's not a matter of capacity, it's not a matter of failure, it's a matter of kind of emotional stunting. They weren't taken care of when they were younger, and now they need to be taken care of now, and that's something you see sometimes with homeless, but also something you see with a lot of kids my age, honestly, a lot of young people my age, like, even young women. It's like, I'm going to abandon everything, self-respect included, and go be some guy's sugar daddy, or go be a trad wife and be taken care of, but it
Right.
never, yeah, it never works. It
Yeah,
never works. It's like and that also goes into a lot of the mentality behind why Trump was elected, like, the whole thing. But it
yeah.
really comes down to, like, I am not mature enough. I am just a girl. I'm not smart enough for this. I need someone to go ahead and fix this for me. I need a big, strong father figure to fix this for me.
Yeah.
That is
It is a level of infantilization, self-inflicted infantilization, that a
right,
lot of people can't wrap their heads around.
right. Yeah,
And they're not really willing to confront, because, like, time goes on and everything ages, everything dies, but growing up is something you have to decide to do.
yeah.
And growing up, when you choose to make progress, when you choose to go on that journey and grow up, that takes time, effort, and work. It's easier just to stay in, like, I am right, or I am a kid, and stay that way for eternity. And you have a lot, and with rising tuition costs, rising housing, it's a lot of people my age are stuck in that. I had no choice. I went with it because I value my autonomy over anything else.
Sure.
I had that understanding, but so many people don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and being an adult sucks.
Being
Being pressed against the wall of the universe,
uh,
it is scary, but
But
that pit in your
even
stomach, that's adulthood.
and
yeah.
even though we are adults, like, our future is so uncertain.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
Like,
right,
especially
yeah, like, adults are not gods, grown-ups are not gods.
no,
right. You know,
like,
all infallible.
yeah, especially in this fucking political atmosphere, climate that we're in. Like, we are being oppressed, and it's scary, you know?
Yeah, not even just oppressed, but it's all kind of collapsing in on each other.
Mhm,
Right.
It's not the oppression is not sustainable within
It
itself. It's not gonna work for anyone.
yeah,
mm-mm.
at all. Um,
Yeah,
It's
Jack honestly says something important, like, "Hey, Jack, how you doing?
love Jack.
Grow, but don't lose your whimsy." And it's like, you can grow, but also it's like, don't lose your whimsy. Like, honestly, that's a pretty good one. It's
Yeah.
like,
it's a good one. Oh,
don't it's like, you can grow old, but you don't have to decay. It's like
No,
growing up, but not
not
dying
hard.
inside. It's like growing, but not rotting, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's
and
the whole Gen X thing that I have a problem with, or even successive generations, all the generations that grow up and
yeah,
then lose their sense of whimsy. When
yeah,
you have this
Yeah.
whimsy when you're younger, and then you grow up and have to accept all these responsibilities, but you forget what it's like to
to have
walk on.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah, to have fun. Yeah,
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I try to remain a child at heart for sure. Like I love
Uh,
little kids. I, toss them around and make jokes with them, have fun with them, and I
just
just
go to the park and or farm and in the parking lot with your friends.
yeah,
And yeah, it's just like Miss Usually said, like I'm overgrown, and that's actually a pretty good point. It's like
yeah,
there's such a thing as being overgrown, and there's such a thing when you have like a bush that's way overgrown. The core of it tends to rot a little bit, tends to die, and
yeah.
that's not
Prune
healthy
that
either.
ivy. Come on now.
You can just say it is a matter. It's like pruning. It's mental hygiene, and to quote honestly a really profound clip from Rick and Morty. Honestly, if anybody watches, is Rick's therapist. Honestly, Dr. Wong reminds me a lot of my therapist. Only my therapist is like stereotypically British. It's hilarious. But it's like you would be like incredibly bored by therapy. The average person would be incredibly bored with therapy. The
Yeah,
same way I feel bored brushing my teeth and wiping my ass. Because the true part of cleaning, hygiene, pruning, and maintaining is that it's not an adventure. There's no way to fuck it up so badly you might die. It's just work. And there's some
right.
people who are okay going to work, and there's some people who'd rather die.
Right. I love therapy. I really do. Like I've been going so long that it's become ingrained in me to
yeah,
go to therapy. I don't do DBT, CBT, any of that.
right.
It's talk
Just
therapy now.
one on one, having a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. That's honestly what I've had. And since I met my therapist back in 2018, she's actually signed my emancipation paperwork. So I'm really happy and grateful that I found her and I'm able to keep her for all these years.
Yeah,
Right.
And aside from that, but like up until her, I was met with back to therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, each and every one telling me what you're experiencing isn't real. We will give you this pill to fix that.
yeah,
Ah, don't you hate that? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and it gets
yeah.
to the
Let's just
point where, like,
medicate.
honestly, I call
You'll be all right.
yeah, I call it the Freudian formula essentially because that's what this was. The Freudian
oh,
formula, how it is that the scientific or medical basis for the field of psychiatry, going back all the way to the start of it, was that the patient you're seeing right now is the manipulative group. It's basically the abnormal, and the world around you is the control group. So in DBT or CBT, you are adjusting the patient to fit in line with the control. The control being the world is safe, secure, fixed gender roles, thriving economy, this everything you have nothing to be depressed about, this, that, and the third.
Yep,
That is where the chemical imbalance comes in. That's where the illness, the pathological component comes in, because that was the assumption for so long. The control was the standard, and you can't change the standard because the standard doesn't change.
yep,
If there's no control group, the whole formula falls apart, and that's
yep.
where we are right now currently.
I've got something for misuse in the chat. Okay, and y'all can join in if you want. But here we go. 3, 2, 1. I don't want to grow up. I'm a
ah.
Toys R Us kid. We got the best from less really fit it from
Oh my god,
this
yes.
video games. So there is one
Walking through the aisles,
maybe
gaslighting your parents. I want the Spy Gadget toy. Oh my god, yes.
I
Oh,
used to
I'm a
work
2000s kid. I'm a 2000s kid.
Yeah, I used to work at Toys R Us like 35 years ago, like stocking
Oh
shelves. I
my,
would be playing with all
oh my god.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember Toys R Us. Yeah.
yeah,
I was one of the people who was sad when they closed it and then brought it back and then closed it
close
again.
again.
Yeah, they didn't close it actually. Private equity kind of came in and destroyed the whole thing from the inside
Right.
out.
Right.
Like they
So,
did to Joanne's.
yeah, yeah. And I heard
And they did
Joanne.
to Joanne's and AC Moore
I
and
heard
all the other things that bring me joy.
Yeah, go ahead.
uh,
You heard what now?
I heard Joanne's is coming back in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if Michael's bought Joanne's and
It might be.
it, um
Yeah. There's so many businesses going out like state or not Staples, but uh I
It was
can't
being
remember
gobbled
the
up by
name of
Amazon
it. It
last
was
time I
a
heard.
it was a pretty prominent store, at least here locally. It's kind of like in that same genre of staple. Anyway, my brain is not thinking of it. Little
Office
brain fart
Max?
there. Huh?
all Max,
Office
all
Max?
No, no, it's not even an office store. I've got Savers in my brain, but that's like a secondhand store. Anyway, it'll like
Yeah, it's
it's
kind of
never
getting
on
to
the
the point
table.
where Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah,
like it's getting to the point where you're the only way to make profit in this current economy is to cannibalize on already existing
Right.
companies. That's what
yeah,
private equity is. It's a company. The business model is destroying other companies,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's
and
we are. Yeah.
yeah,
that's where we are right now. And in terms of like not just being able to like we can't build back what already was because it's kind of eating itself. I honestly compare it to like I honestly compare it to like you have like a pit of crabs, right? Like a bucket full of crabs, and if there's no food left, they'll start eating each other. That's kind of what happens. Is like no,
Uh,
even if a crab tries to crawl out, the other ones will pull it back down in
yeah,
the process. Yeah, kind of in a bucket full of crabs economy right now. And that's honestly something we got to think about, like in terms of going forward, because in terms of mental health care, what has been the standard is no longer the standard. The control
exactly.
group's out the window. Institutionalization has and will probably continue to be a form of punishment. So we need to find another long-term solution that actually helps people live independent, fulfilling lives without constantly locking them behind concrete doors.
I
Yeah,
think for this new regime, well, not this new government, that
Yeah.
is something big. The institutionalization of uh, of people with mental health issues.
Well, yeah, or recategorizing simple like being trans,
Right,
being on
right,
the autism spectrum, or being
right.
homeless as a mental health. Even like that, way back when they're like during like post emancipation, post end of slavery, post Juneteenth, the a black person's desire to be free from slavery was categorized by a then white supremacist
yeah,
as a mental illness.
Right,
It's like,
right,
why would they want to be free? That
right,
must be a
uh,
mental illness. It's like
right. Like, oh, okay,
yeah,
the complete detachment, the complete disconnect, what it is.
right,
It's like,
right,
oh, isn't there a pill that can fix that? No, you idiot. That's not
right,
how this works. That's not how any of this works. Like, why
no,
would
an
you want to be
environment
free?
was
Like, you have all that, you have food,
yeah,
and like, there is a complete disconnect. Like, wait, why would you want to divorce your masculine alpha male husband? Well, I gave you an oven. You have this kitchen. What more do you want?
right. I get.
I want to be human. People don't understand that they want to be human outside of their assigned roles, and that's where all this backlash is coming from. Because, well, the rest of us, like whether it be women, queer people, neurodivergents, everything in between, have figured out over the last 270 years that our humanity is not defined, but is completely separate from our assigned societal role because we rejected it entirely. And
Right.
now, 200 years later, we have cis white men running themselves, like banging their head against the walls, like, if I'm not this role, then what am I? You're human. Figure out how to be human without being the societal role you were always told to be because it doesn't apply anymore. And
Well,
that's why they're freaking the fuck out.
this
shop
hetero.
Shopco. That's the word. That's the business I was thinking of.
Shut up, Cole. Okay, there it is.
Yeah, I used to love going there, but they're no longer. Anyway,
Yeah.
So, y'all, I appreciate being on, but I'm gonna have to drop off because my phone is getting ready to die.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fun.
We've been on for a while.
Uh,
Yeah. So hey, thank you so much, Onyx Rose. I hope
you,
you
y'all.
come
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
Big.
Yeah, and
Uh,
anyone in the chat,
thank y'all. Yeah.
yeah, anyone in the yeah, you can leave at any time. I'm just gonna do a little closing spiel if you want to.
Okay. I'm out of here. Bye,
All right,
y'all.
see ya.
Bye.
Um, Tig, are you wanting to join me weekly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is an ongoing series. We have our ongoing podcast, Mind Haven.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to maybe posting in a few other platforms as well, not just Substack in the future. Join us here. Usually we're here 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Mountain Time,
Yep.
on Wednesday nights and Wednesday evening. We always love to have new faces. Also, be sure to subscribe to Sushipheliac on Substack, her magazine, as well as my publication, Tigology.
Or
We're
Tig.
more links to come, more content to come from both sides, and we will see you at our next talk, at our
Yeah.
next Mind Haven chat.
Yeah. So anyone in the chat, if you are interested in joining us, just shoot me a DM or take a DM and we'll get you on. If we don't hear from
Yeah,
you, how I found, and even Neuro, I don't know if Neuro's still in the chat, but my first live Tig and Nero wanted to come on live with me, and that's how it all started. So,
And now we got a solid podcast series on our hands.
all
So
right, you
yeah, if
guys.
you want, feel free to DM us if you want to come on and chat. If you're experiencing any kind of, we're always down to be human with more humans, you know.
Yep. And it doesn't necessarily have to be mental health or disorders or whatever. Like, just hop
Yeah,
on in and we can just have a discussion. It's just a safe
yeah.
space for anything. Okay. Thank you
Stay
so
a
much,
safe
everyone.
space. Thank you. See you next week.
Oh, and